Hey guys, it's Generalkidd here. How's everyone doing today? So, for today's video, we're going to be tackling the question of what happens if you try to overload the campaign in Halo 3. So, as you all probably know by now, one of the oldest tricks you could do in Halo 3 Forge, and actually a really useful one, is overloading the map. So, if you didn't know, overloading the map is where when you spawn a lot of trip mines using this instant respawn trick for the trip mines, and when you spawn a lot of them, make a huge pile of trip mines. After a while, after like a lot of trip mines, the Forge map will overload. And when the map overloads, it has a lot of weird effects. And depending on the map, different things may happen. But generally, things like vehicles will all despawn. On Sandbox, the whole grid will actually despawn in a lot of cases. But most notably, a lot of, aside from like crates, vehicles, weapons and everything that despawn, other stuff that's part of the scenery, like the wind tunnel here, that also gets disabled. The guardians, the minefield out here, also are disabled, and it's the same on Sandbox as well. The guardians on that are also disabled, and same with Snowbound as well. Basically all guardians, all stuff like that, when you overload the map, they are disabled for the rest of the round. And it's really useful for like forging maps, especially if you want to get out of the map and forge stuff out there. So definitely a very useful trick in Forge, and even in custom games it works too. But it's not as useful there because, well, it doesn't really serve much purpose in custom games. But what about campaign? Well, let's try it in campaign and see what happens. So I did a very small modding campaign so that I could spawn like as many trip mines as I need. And all I gotta do is just spawn those trip mines and see what happens. So, as you can see, so far, nothing happened there. And we're gonna try this on several parts of this mission. We're doing it on the Covenant because that was one of the better missions I think to try this on. But so that first part out there, when I did all the trip mines, none of the vehicles despawned, none of the Marines despawned. Everything seemed to go normally, and it's pretty much the same thing here. It should have overloaded by now, but nothing happened with the bodies. However, one thing did happen with Master Chief's body when I died from the explosion. Instead of the body, ragdolling or dying, it just went poof. It vanished. So far, that seems to be extent of overloading in campaign. If you die while it's overloaded, your body just disappears, and that's about it so far. But let's go to a place with more stuff going on, like the Scarab battle here. And once again, I'm just going to speed it up because overloading takes a little bit of time. So I'm just going to put the camera here so you can see what actually happens in campaign. So you can see all the debris on the ground there, all like the junk and stuff lying around. And as I'm overloading and being sped up, you can see that all that stuff actually disappears. And they all just despawn, like all the junk on the ground, just all the garbage just gets cleaned up. And well, it despawns, and that's basically what it does in campaign. But the Scarab themselves, all the Marines driving vehicles, the Covenant, it still has no effect on them. So let me show you again, now that both Scarabs are destroyed and there's a lot of garbage pieces lying around. Garbage pieces are basically like, those leftover, like blown up bits of the Scarab and other vehicles. So let's speed it up while I overload it. So as you can see, all the destroyed chunks of the Scarab are still there, as well as some dead bodies and weapons and other debris lying around on the ground. So as we speed this up, in just a moment, there you go. Everything that was there, all the garbage pieces have now despawned, and all that's left is just the large part of the Scarab carcass, which I guess itself is not a garbage piece in this case. But yeah, so those don't despawn, but everything else does. And one more good example to show you guys of overloading campaign is when we're inside the Citadel here. So I just waited for all the enemies to get by here and just started spawning trip mines again. So here, pay attention to the dead bodies, the grenades on the ground, weapons, and the crates. So let's speed that up. And once we get to the point of overload, you can see the dead bodies, the weapons, and debris disappear. And then eventually the crates, the weapon crates, all finally disappear as well. So it basically despawns mostly block objects or crate objects, just like in Forge. Like objects that would be forgeable if you were in Forge, as well as garbage pieces or junk like debris. And that's basically the extent of it in campaign. It doesn't have any like major effects like it does in Forge, where like guardians or like auto turrets and stuff like that are all like despawned and then disabled. But in campaign, all it does is really just cleans up the mess that you made from like just killing enemies and destroying vehicles. And it also deletes like objects, like block objects that can be moved around like crates and stuff. So that's basically the extent of overloading campaign, but now you know. So hopefully you guys did find this video to be interesting, and if you did, as always, make sure to leave a like. Leave your thoughts and comments, and if you guys want to check out our test out, just let me know. And other than that, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye guys!